how can I make my kids see the value of Salah? MashaAllah, a very beautiful question. As somebody who has children, I know how much of a struggle it is to get your children to pray Salah. However, let us take a step back when our children are very, very young. We know that parents are the window into the world for our children. They do as they see. And many of us have had that experience where we're praying on the prayer mat, and our child, who's maybe just crawls over onto the prayer mat and fumbles into a sajda. Why? Because they want to copy mom and dad. That is the way their nature is, that they see what their parents do and they want to follow. And that is why I suppose one of the first things we remind ourselves is that if we want our children to love the Salah and to be observant of the Salah, then we must practice that ourselves. In fact, Allah the Almighty says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Tahrim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara, save yourselves and your families from the fire. And the scholars point out that in this verse, Allah first said save yourselves, then He said save your families. And one of the wisdoms is because through saving yourself, by practicing what you need to as a Muslim, your family will then follow you as an example. And as such, you will then be saving your family as well. And this is something that makes a lot of sense. That if you want your children to be a particular way, you have to manifest that value and that tradition yourself. Further to that, when your children become a bit older and they become a bit rebellious, then it's important that we don't make Salah into a chore, something that they feel as though they have to do. And when we tell them to do it, we don't explain why. Why am I telling you that you need to pray your Salah? Why am I saying it's Dhuhr time now, it's Asr time now, it's Maghrib time now? And you yourself, you don't like to nag. You don't like to be the person who's always telling them something that they don't like to hear. So sometimes it is important that you sit down with your children and you remind them as to why it's important to pray Salah. Yes? And one of the things that I like to do with my children is to remind them that praying Salah is a way of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when they're very young, I would say things like, if we went out for a day, for example, if we took them to the park or we went to a restaurant, we would come home, I would say to them, look, did you have a good day today? And they'd be like, yes. I said, okay, so what do you like to say? They say, oh, Baba, Jazakallah khair for taking us to the park, Jazakallah khair for taking us to the restaurant. I said, okay, so now when you say thank you to me, when you say Jazakallah khair, I feel as though you appreciate me. And I feel as though you are being good to me because I was good to you. In the same way, think about who gave you Baba. Think about who gave you everything you have in your life. Everything you enjoy today, you're saying thank you to me, and you feel as though you should say thank you to me. In reality, it wasn't me. It was Allah the Almighty. He gave you your father, He gave you your mother, and He gave you everything that you like to enjoy. But the question is, how do you say thank you to Allah? You know how to say thank you to Baba, but how do you say thank you to Allah? The way you say thank you to Allah is by praying your Salah. 5 times a day, you say thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving you life, for giving you parents, for giving you all the lovely things that you like to enjoy. And also, if I took you out to the park and to the restaurant and you had a great time and you came home and you didn't say thank you, and you didn't say Jazakallah khair Baba, how do you think Baba would feel? They'll be like, I think Baba would be upset. That wouldn't be nice. I said in the same way, if you don't pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's as though you're saying, Allah, I don't appreciate you. Allah, I'm not grateful to you for what you do for me. And don't you think Allah will become angry? And of course, they then begin to understand. Now, depending on their age, you would tailor this conversation. But the idea is to explain the why behind praying. And that, inshallah, can go a long way to making them become more committed to the Salah. Finally, one of the other things we can do, and it's something that I like to do as well, is we know the hadith of the Prophet said, when your children reach 7, then you should command them to pray. And then when they reach the age of 11 or 10, then you should reprimand them for not praying. Now, this can be used like a roadmap. So at the age of 7, what I like to do is have a celebration. It's not a birthday as such. It's a celebration of reaching the age of 7. Why? Because now that you've reached the age of 7, you've now become old enough to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is a celebration. And so I would have a party. There will be a cake and there would be messages of congratulations. Now you have reached the age of 7. Now you can start to pray your salah. And then what we do is I would say, just choose one salah that you'd like to pray. And so my daughter, she just had her 7th birthday. We asked her, which salah would you like to choose? So she said, I would like to pray my Maghrib. I said, okay, I think because we all pray Maghrib together sometimes. So she said, I will pray my Maghrib. I said, okay, for the next year, all you're going to do is you're going to try and pray your Maghrib every single day. Is that doable? She said, yes, of course, that's doable. And I'll try and do more. I said, brilliant. Now, when her 8th birthday comes around, we will say, okay, now it's time to add another salah. Which one would you choose? Maybe she'll add a dhuhr to that, or asr to that. Or maybe if she'd like to stay up late, she'll say Isha, right? Being cheeky. So they'll add another salah. And then by her 9th birthday, we'll add another salah. And then by the 10th and the 11th, she's already, inshallah, on 5 times a day salah, which is what we want them to be on as well. So this is just a careful planning, a little bit of strategy, and thinking about how to gradually bring our children into that space where they are committed to praying 5 times a day. We ask Allah the Almighty to soften our children's hearts towards the salah, and also soften our hearts towards our children, to allow us to explain to them why they pray, and also to coach them into being committed to the salah as well. Ultimately, whenever they pray, we get the reward as well, isn't it? من دال على الخير كفاعله. That is what the Prophet ﷺ said. Whoever points out a good deed to somebody, he gets a copy of that reward. So every time our children pray, if we taught them, we get a copy of that reward as well. So I hope that helps, Bijal, in making your kids see the value of salah.